So I am so excited to have my friend Gwen here today. Gwen, thank you for coming. Yay!
Oh, thank you
I'm
for having
excited.
me. I'm
You're
excited
very
too.
welcome. So if you're watching this on Facebook right now, we tried to do this last week and we had a little snafu. It's okay.
Yes.
Hashtag nine problems. I don't know if it was a nine problem, but it felt very horrible
Hashtag
to
not
me.
non-tech problems.
Yeah, and I do call myself a techie. Like I feel like I'm really techie, and then like I'm not. So that's okay. All
Even
right.
even the best of us.
I
Yes.
know. I know.
Yeah.
So anyway, today we are here to talk about how we can use our mindset to shift things because we know as nines, we kind of, I'll just speak for myself. I can get in my head so much and kind of get in these loops of thoughts of like, oh my gosh, like I'm thinking negatively or I can't even get started or whatever. So for
Yes.
those of you out there watching this and listening, we're going to be talking about the power of using our mindset to shift into action. So, I want to introduce my friend Gwen to you. Gwen Whitfield, she's the host of the Redefining Bold podcast, and she is the founder of theboldabode.com. She's an Enneagram 9, of course, and just like me and many of you out there, she has spent years struggling with who she is, or maybe you've found the secret. That maybe we're going to find the secret right now.
Yes.
um, but you have spent years just struggling with who you are and like what you were supposed to do with your life. And so
Yes.
Gwen is going to tell us today a little bit. I want to maybe you can just start and tell us like about your business journey, how you came to starting your business, and then
Okay.
also like how you discovered the Enneagram too. I want to know all
Yeah.
about that too.
Yes. Oh, the Enneagram. So excited. Yes. Okay. So, what could be a very long, meandering story, I will do my best to be succinct.
Okay.
But anyway, 2011, I started the boldabode.com. And a friend of mine actually, it was originally all about home decor, DIY, that sort of thing. So
Mm-hmm.
we had just bought our first house and moved to Virginia, where we live now. And a friend of mine came over and saw some of the things that I was doing. I had put this door on the wall and started creating these like, a drop station mudroom kind of thing. And she looked at it and she's like, oh my gosh, she would love the nester. And so if you're watching and you know who I'm talking about, you'll understand. It's,
The nester.
the nester,
Mm-hmm.
nestingplace.com. So that
Okay.
kind of led me down the rabbit hole of blogging. I knew about blogs, this was 2009,
Mm-hmm.
10 or so, and I just got obsessed. And so I was like, I could do a blog. I could start a blog.
I love
And
it.
so I did. And so I posted a lot of my projects and things like that. And over the years, the business changed, social media changed dramatically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had gotten a lot of traffic and um, views from Pinterest. And so I was doing really well as a home decor blog. But then
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 2016, Pinterest changed their algorithm, just like
Yes.
every social. If you're an online anything, then you're
Mm-hmm.
aware of the changes that in social algorithms.
Yeah.
And so everything changed, and it was actually very depressing. I mean, it was very difficult to sit and watch this business that you had built just slowly just die, basically. And
Yeah.
so I think, if I had known about the Enneagram, I'm going to kind of mix this here.
Yeah.
If I had known about the Enneagram and that I was a 9 and what to watch out for when you start to disintegrate, I feel like I could have caught myself,
Mm-hmm.
um, but it really crushed me. And so instead of, like some of my blogger friends, instead of getting more proactive and, kind of attacking it and
Mm-hmm.
working with it and learning, I kind of withdrew into the covers
Yeah.
and just kind of disintegrated with it.
Oh my
And
gosh. You felt like
yeah,
defeated, like, okay, I can't do
oh,
this.
Absolutely. Because, I'm just not, social media to me is already draining enough. The,
Mm-hmm.
the idea of having to put so much more into it, it was just, it paralyzed me. And I'm not proud of it at all. I'm thankful today that I'm more self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, from 2016 to about 2019, I really struggled. I didn't know, all of the old questions of who am I? What am
Yeah.
I supposed to do with my life resurfaced. And so there was this journey, even before I found the Enneagram, to kind of take stock and learn more about myself. And so that is really what I started to do. So I started reading books that were recommended to me. I'm going to mention, if it's okay, a couple of them
Yeah,
here, and
for
maybe you
sure.
can put them in the, I don't know if there's, you would
Yeah,
call
I
them
can
show
put it in the
notes or not.
comments and the show notes.
Um, but
Can I
some,
ask you a question really quick?
yeah,
I'm sorry to interrupt
please.
you.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
So whenever so back, I'm trying to rewind for a second. So in
Okay.
2011, when you started your blog,
Yes.
so you were involved in your business and like putting yourself out there, putting your voice out there from then
Yes.
until, I mean, you've just discovered the Enneagram in the past few years. So how
Like,
was it for
yeah,
you to like, was it scary for you at first? Like, what was it
it
like for you
was,
to just like start
it
doing
was so
something where your
different. It
voice
was
was out there?
so, I'm sorry, I'm keep interrupting you.
No, you're totally fine.
It was so different back in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, how old was Facebook? Not very old. It was
Mm-hmm.
much in its infancy. There,
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember when Twitter was even came on the scene. There was no Instagram. There was no Pinterest. The connections that we made back then were
Mm-hmm.
very one-on-one. You would read other blogs, and commenting was huge.
Yes, I remember
And
that.
so it was much more personal,
Mm-hmm.
more of a one by one kind of thing. Now I had friends that did very well on Facebook. I guess the pages came out for businesses, and the algorithm was very different, and it's like they knew what to do, whereas I just didn't quite get it, and
Yeah.
probably has more to do with the whole putting myself out there kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I do not like to draw attention to myself. I think we've talked a lot about this. I'm a classically trained singer,
Mm-hmm.
and was very much encouraged to go that direction. I had so many majors in college trying not to be a musician, and ultimately I gave in because I was good at it.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy for me. Um, I did well. That's where I made the best grades, that sort of thing. But I just always hit a wall when it came to auditioning, and when it came to performing was okay. Just getting on the stage, being in the opera, whatever, that was okay.
Yeah.
I was in an ensemble, we did it together. But as far as just saying, hey, look at me, it's like,
Yeah.
I hate it. And it's like that whole nine thing of, we want to be seen. We want the attention. We want to be valued. But when it happens, it can be uncomfortable.
Oh, totally.
So you
Totally.
get it.
That's how I feel whenever I like I used to work in a school and I would have to lead meetings for like with parents and kids or
Right.
teachers or whatever. And when it like I would be prepared when it would come time for me to be like the one sharing, it would be like like I just felt like, okay, I had all of this really good in my head and then it just fell really flat. And it's
I
like, okay,
so
all the
identify
eyes
with
are on
that.
me and I have forgotten everything I'm going to say. And it's like, I can just feel the hives coming in on my
I
neck.
feel it in my stomach. I don't know how other
I've
nines
heard
do. You
that.
can feel it in your body, and that's where I
Mm-hmm.
feel it is in my stomach. And
Yeah.
that's a good thing to, kind of going off and on tangent here. That's a very good thing to become very aware of when
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to move into health,
Yeah.
because it's like one of those red flags. Okay,
Kind of
go
like
ahead.
how it's feeling in your body.
Yeah, why
I
why
like
am I
that.
feeling odd in this area or in this area? That's
Yeah. To
okay, go
tune
ahead.
into that. No, that's good. Okay. So fast forward a little bit. So it totally makes sense how the beginning of your business, kind of that one-on-one, that connection piece,
Mhm.
that commenting. And then as the years go on with Facebook and it just starts to get inundated with all these people,
Yes.
it's kind of like Facebook has become a, a parallel of what our world is. So it's like you
Hey,
have
look at me.
like
Look at
all
me.
the threes, all the type threes, all the type sevens and eights, they
Yes.
discovered like, another place for me to be seen.
Yes.
And so, yes,
Yes.
I totally get that.
And so
Oh,
that's why I loved Pinterest. If I'll interject a little bit,
yeah,
because
go.
Pinterest was about beautiful images. It was not about me. It was not about, hey, look at me, even though I mean it is, but it was just this. I mean, I got really good at it. And it was such a great place for an introvert, I think. So anyway, the Pinterest was so much better until they changed. And that's okay. They can do that. That's their
Yeah.
right. It's their platform, right?
But then I know. And then it's like, I don't know. That is a tangent. Like going off on like how the world seems to know kind of like a secret that we don't know. It's kind of like Instagram
I
or
feel
Pinterest.
that.
They like their little
Yes.
algorithm is trying to control us.
Yes. And that's how I feel about Instagram as well, because the posts that do well for me on Instagram are of my face. And I'm just like,
I know.
please. So it's a matter of shifting. We're going to talk about shifting now. Shifting your perspective and realizing, and I'm getting a little bit ahead of my story, and I hope that's okay, and realizing that what I'm doing in the world and with my life is not about me.
Mm.
It is about, and I'm going to reference a video. So I don't know if you want to take notes.
Yeah,
The
please.
Tim LaHue, is that his name?
Oh, Dr. Tom LaHue?
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
Tom
I
LaHue.
love Tom LaHue.
Oh, the video, and I've seen this in our group. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
this in other groups, the 100 Acre Wood video. Okay, I'm going
Yep.
to talk to everyone directly right now. If you're a nine, sorry, I'm spitting. If you're a nine and you have not seen or watched that video, after you finish this one,
Yeah, I'll post
go
it down in the comments.
go watch it. It made such a huge impact on the way I view myself and on the direction that I'm going with my life. And I'm going to just give a little snippet about it. There's one quote, and I'm paraphrasing here. He said, "The nine's purpose in life is to spread peace and tranquility in a sometimes toxic world."
Mm.
And I just want to sit with that for a minute, because we feel oftentimes like we have no value. We feel unheard and unseen. But when we are with people and we have this calm sense of being,
Mm-hmm.
we have the ability to listen to multiple viewpoints and identify with that person in some way. That is what we are doing. We are bringing that peace and tranquility and allowing other people to be heard. And that is one of our, if not the greatest strength that we have. And I think we undervalue that in ourselves.
Yeah, 100%. It's so true. And that's like, I think that's why every time I read something about a healthy nine or I see a healthy nine in the world putting themselves out there, I'm just like, yes, because I feel that within myself. Like I feel
Yes.
that like person within myself that's like, come on,
You can do
you have
it.
something to give, you can do
You
this.
can do it.
And
You can.
then when you experience the goodness that a nine can bring, it is like it's like you can feel their essence. It's like the essence of God that
Yes.
you're feeling.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Okay.
And go ahead.
No, you go.
I was going to say that moment was a liminal shift for me, because
Mm-hmm.
it became not about me. It became about my sole purpose in this world being taken off of me and moving into that. And as a 9, that is a shift, a mental shift. We're talking about mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and that mental shift of telling yourself these things is exactly what is going to create that action in your life. So, I mean, go ahead, because I have lots of things I can talk about that, but you were going to say something. So,
Yeah, no, I think it's just that I also, when I'm reading back on your bio or just from knowing you, for those of you watching and listening, Gwen and I met, I guess it was maybe like 2 months ago now,
mhm,
maybe in August or July this summer.
mhm.
We did a panel in the Enneagram 9 Stories group, and we met through that, and just got connected through Facebook and realized we had some mutual friends. And anyway, so she and I have become like accountability partners and talking all the time. First, it was like, let's talk once a week. And then it's like, let's Marco Polo. And it's
Every day.
like everyone needs a Gwen in their life, is what I'm
Oh, everyone
saying.
needs a Lindsey in their life.
I'm just like having somebody that understands that, I struggle every day with getting myself out of bed, getting going, knowing everything I have to do. It's just been so meaningful to me.
And who else
And
can you talk to? I'm going to interject. Who else can you talk to about today? It was so hard to get out of bed. I
I
mean,
know
the 3s and the 7s and the other really, more aggressive. I'm sorry. I need to
assertive
turn my
types.
phone off. Assertive types. They look, even my husband's like, what do you mean? So that's such a blessing in my life. So having a 9 friend that you can talk to is really wonderful.
Yeah. And also I think what the reason that that you've been good for me is because it's not just that you've listened to me say I had trouble today, or I had trouble getting going, or I'm negatively thinking about this, but you
Mhm.
also say okay, I hear you, but here's what you can do to help yourself.
Right.
Like a
It's
few
so
weeks ago,
wonderful.
I was having a hard time, and you were like, "Why don't you just go for a walk?" And I was like,
Mm.
"Oh yeah, of course. Why don't I just go for a walk?" But how we
Yeah.
forget, like just something that easy, go move your body, get out,
Mhm.
enjoy the beautiful day, and within
Yes.
about 30 seconds I was already feeling better and
It's
thinking
huge
better.
shift. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I want to say this too for 9s to move towards health. And I'll preface this. There was one week during COVID. I think it was in late April. I started reading, I think, Father Rohr's book.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. So I've
It's
read
okay.
a few of them. And I watched a video from Dr. LaHoo.
Mhm.
And both of those said a 9 to be moved towards health need to be connected to their bodies, i.e., we need to exercise.
Yeah.
So exercise for me, and that's why the first thing when I remember that first thing that I suggested was get outside. It's a beautiful day here,
Mhm.
and just get outside because exercise. I mean, obviously, getting out. So I'm looking at the window over. Getting outside is just beautiful anyway, but the exercise part of it is really important for a 9 as well. So
Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. So, okay, tell us some things like with you putting yourself out there, because for me doing these spotlight interviews for the group is I want people to watch this and listen to this, and like they may not be a blogger, they may not have a
Right.
podcast like you, but they identify with what you're saying in terms of just like sometimes I have a hard time getting out of bed, and sometimes I have a hard time, deciphering my goals or deciding what the next thing it is that I do. So
Mhm.
talk about mindset as it relates to just like either getting yourself going or
Right.
knowing
I
what to do
think
next.
there's a couple of really important things in regards to mindset. The first thing that made a huge shift for me, and I will say, I found out about the Enneagram. Let me just go back a little bit. I found out about the Enneagram about a little over a year ago. My husband brought it home to me and he was like, you need to take this test. And a friend of his had told him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And over the years we have taken Myers-Briggs and Strengths Finder and disc everything to try. I'm thankful I have a husband who's so self-aware that we try to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we this way? How can we be better? But he came home. He's like, you have to take this test. And I was like, okay. So I took the test immediately, 9-1. I read about it. And for those of you who are struggling with who you are, keep at it. I was fortunate one to realize that's exactly who I was. There was
Mm-hmm.
never a doubt. And so we're learning more about that and just how we handle our stress and our motivations has helped me so much. In March, I think when I really got serious about studying the 9 personality type or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it, there was a big shift for me in that I needed to have some self-compassion.
Mm.
So as 9s, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be out there, to be on, to do more, to have a cleaner home, all of these things that we truly do want in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, we don't have the energy to do it all, like the 3 we know, or the 7 we know, or the 8 who is, goes at it with a hammer.
Yeah.
I mean, and so cultivating this self-compassion is vital for us. And I really believe that's the first step towards shifting your mindset and becoming aware, because
Mm.
with self-compassion, you also have to begin to cultivate an awareness of what is going on in your mind. Because if you cannot be aware of these negative thoughts that are constantly this tape that's playing in your head, you
Mm-hmm.
can't change it.
Right.
So I remember getting up one morning feeling like I was in a very, very dark place. It was dark outside, so it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning, going into the bathroom and sitting there with this negative. And I have worked on it. I'm going to tell you guys that it is a lifelong journey. So just be aware of that and have
Mm-hmm.
that compassion. But I was sitting there with all of this just weight on me, feeling like I was just so small and so insignificant. And why couldn't I do this? And why couldn't I, do that? And what was wrong with me? And there was just this little light that popped up and said, have some compassion for yourself. And that's it. Just it's okay. Like
Mm.
we can be this. I talk about this in one of my episodes. I'll see if I can find the episode. I thought I wrote all this down. About being our own parent.
Mm-hmm.
If you had loving parents, you have a role model. But if you didn't, then you can be that for yourself as well. What would you tell your child or your
Mm.
best friend if you knew their innermost thoughts? You would have so much compassion for them, and you would wrap your arms around them and, just want to take care of them. And that moment for me was huge, to realize that
Mm.
I'm sitting here beating myself up for no reason. But perhaps if I take a different approach, then maybe I can heal from some of this.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really, for me, was the first step towards really beginning to shift this mindset and taking care of myself rather
Yeah.
than, beating myself up all the time.
Right.
So
No, that is so
literally,
good.
yeah. So I will literally in the morning, and I've gotten so much healthier now. I don't have to do this every single day. But if I start to feel that little twinge, I will go in the mirror in the morning and say, you are enough. You can do this. You are doing so well. You've come so far.
Mm-hmm.
Be your best friend.
Yeah. Man, for me, it's like that, finding your value, knowing your
Yes.
value. Like
Yes.
for me, having this little voice in my head or in my heart or whatever throughout the years, like trying to get out, like I have something to offer. I want to, but it's too scary, or no one's going to listen, or whatever. But the more that I have stepped into
Mm-hmm.
it
Mm-hmm.
and, tried a little bit at a time, like, well, I'm going to try this, or I'm going to say this, or I'm going to push against, this conversation or bring up some
Mhm.
conflict or whatever, which might not even be conflict. It might just be like a little bitty thing
Right.
of saying something. Um, but it's in the moments that you're talking about where I do feel like, oh, I can't do this, or here we go again, like I'm back at square
Mhm.
one.
Mhm.
Like it's like you have this little tank of like, no, remember you did that yesterday, and you actually have come a long way. Like exactly what you're saying, like
Mhm.
remembering where
Mhm.
you've been, and it starts to. I think that's why I like the word shift. It's
Yes.
because it doesn't take too much to start to move in a new direction. Like just that
Does
one day when
not.
you said like go take a walk, or remember like what you're saying now, like remember how far you've come, or remember the good things. I think that's why gratitude is such a big
Yes.
thing. I have goosebumps.
Huge.
Always happens to me. I think that's why gratitude is such a big thing that I'm not the one making this up. I mean that's why people say like how important it is to have a daily gratitude practice. It's like
Yes.
just one small shift in the direction of positivity or whatever can start to
Absolutely.
move you.
Absolutely. That moving that needle just a tiny bit opens the door for more
Yeah,
change.
I love that. Okay, so you said start with self-compassion, kind of like finding your value, parenting yourself. Okay, so what else?
What else? It's the daily affirmations, the reminders, and you
Mm-hmm.
can write your own. I'm not trying to plug anything,
No, please do.
but like, okay, so one of the things that I do through the boldabode.com is work with people,
Mm-hmm.
particularly like me and on their homes. And
Mm.
so I created, these are mine. I created a free ebook about affirmations for cleaning your home.
Mm-hmm.
And so, this struggle that goes in your head, oh, I don't want to do the laundry, or I don't want to do, I just don't want to vacuum. And there's so many things that we need to do. And we just tell ourselves we don't want to do them, we don't like them. And so becoming aware of these thoughts, like we talked about, and the compassion, and then literally writing things down, positive
Mm-hmm.
things. I am worthy of a clean and organized home. And when you just keep telling yourself, and there's 10 of them that I did, but you can do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's like writing down the things to replace the negativity. So when you find when you have the compassion for yourself, you have the awareness of what is going on, you can
Mm-hmm.
catch yourself, which takes practice, right?
Yeah.
Identifying what you're telling yourself and then write down the opposite. It's as simple as you tell yourself, like Brendan, I have a 16-year-old and he is struggling with his pre-calculus class. He needs a teacher every day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's tough right now, you guys. I know you know what I'm saying. And he started telling himself I'm not good at math. And I said, whoa, stop there. And so you have to catch your, so I'm doing that for him right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully one day he will be like, and he even said, yeah, I know you're right. When you catch that thought in your head, turn it around immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to clean my house today. Boom. The benefits of cleaning my house today are going to be huge. And this is the
Right.
other thing that I love called chasing the feeling.
Mm.
Chasing the feeling. Where where are those episodes? Here it is. And I can't find it because it's not in the title. But anyway,
That's okay.
the idea of chasing the feeling is getting really clear on what it'll feel like when you've completed that task, that project, that putting yourself out there. How good does it feel? When you want to have a clean home and you
Yes.
have a clean home and you've done the crisis cleaning and you're exhausted, but the house is clean, how does
Mm-hmm.
that feel?
Yeah.
And so that kind of comes in with the visualization process, I think. And so when you can sit for a moment and just visualize that feeling and feel it in your body. There's an episode called Wow Goals that
Mm-hmm.
I did,
Mm-hmm.
really about that. It's just about sitting with that feeling of what it'll be like when you're done.
Right.
And for me, that creates a huge shift as well and gets me up out of the bed and helps me pick up the scrub brush, get the dishes done. Because
Right.
when I think about that sink being full of dirty dishes, that's a weight on
Yeah.
my life.
Oh my gosh.
When I visualize, and I do it, y'all, I do it just about every time I have to do the dishes. We all have something we don't want to do. But when I visualize the sink being clean and everything being nice and tidy and put away, I'm like, I'm doing it now because that's what I want.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like sometimes for me, I'm like, okay, I can do one thing. I'm just going to pick up this
Right.
dish.
One thing.
I'm just going to set the timer for 5 minutes and do this for 5 minutes. And then
Absolutely.
more times than not, once I get moving,
Yes,
then
ma'am.
it's okay. Then it's
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that energy breeds that energy, that positive energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so those small, and that's what, the whole podcast is about, is small steps towards lasting change.
Yeah.
As a 9, I'm not great at I love to get a system and go at it
Mm-hmm.
100% and then wipe out and burn out.
Yeah.
And then it's over. And so for me, it's like little tiny steps, creating this positive change day
Mm-hmm.
after day is going to get me where I want to be. And
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah. And I think going back to our friendship, like I think that because you have that mantra of your life, kind of like the small steps towards
Mm-hmm.
lasting change, um, it's like I do have my own personal Gwen. Honestly,
Well,
we're
you do the
like,
same thing for me.
well, I'm serious. Like listening to your podcast, like as I'm going to get my daughter from school, I'll just like listen to a quick podcast, and I like that they're kind of like short episodes
They
because
are
it's
very
like,
short.
oh, it's like a little pep talk. Oh, okay, now I can do this. Now I can do this. Um, I also like what you said about the mindset shift. That it's you're not just saying like I can't do my dishes. Oh yes, I can do my dishes. You're
Right.
saying like think about like how you're gonna feel when it's done. Like you're
Yes.
helping yourself shift just ever so slightly. So it's like okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling myself something that's totally negative, totally not true, and you're just gonna move a little bit to like I'm gonna feel better when I do this, and
Right.
I can do this one step at a time, and it's not gonna take
Right.
me very long. And it's just kind of like
Right.
you're just shifting in
Well,
the
it's like,
direction.
yes. And it's going up that emotional ladder. You're not going
Mhm.
to go from grief and pain to, joy. You might
Right.
go from grief and pain to anger, and then anger to
Frustration
resist
or
frustration. And,
yeah.
you're going to work yourself up the ladder. And it's going to take some time, but by taking those, little steps, eventually you're going to find yourself, I really love having this done. And you're not going to argue with yourself anymore because,
Yeah.
in my head yesterday, we were talking about this before we came on, wasn't a great day yesterday, but it's not as bad as it used to be,
Right.
and I was able to just kind of be like, no, you just go and do that, right? Go do your laundry.
Mhm.
That's enough for right now.
Yeah.
And then that bred the other positive things that I was able to do yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
Good. That's really good. So I think I just want to encourage people to like whether you're doing it through the Enneagram 9 Stories community, or you have an accountability partner, or you're just like processing these things with someone else is really big,
Yes.
because then it's like, oh,
Huge.
okay, I'm not the only one. It goes back to this. I keep tapping my microphone. It goes back to the self-compassion and like
Yes.
the self-awareness of like, you're okay. There are other people like you. That's what I love about the Enneagram.
I
Oh,
love it
there
so
there are
much.
others like me.
I felt so
Um,
alone. I felt so alone. What's wrong with me?
mhm.
And then I found the Enneagram, and all of that really melted away.
Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh. And it's kind of sad to think of my life prior to knowing there were others like me.
It is.
Um, but what I want to say is I would just encourage anyone that's out there that's feeling similar things to what Gwen and I are talking about. If you feel like maybe you don't have the excuse me,
Move that move that microphone,
I'm
girl.
gonna push this little mic back because I can't control my hands. If you feel like you don't have something to say, if you feel like no one's going to listen, or I don't know what it is, but just like starting little by little to put your voice out there, making these little shifts we're talking about. Maybe you don't want to put your voice out there at all. Maybe you don't even care about that. Maybe you just want to like get your dishes done.
Right. And that's the thing. That's the thing with a 9 is that sometimes we just don't really care. Like, and that's okay because that's who we are. But when it matters, that's when it is important to find the strength and the courage to voice your opinion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're probably going to do it in a loving and compassionate way.
I love that. All right, Gwen. So tell us one last time, where can we find you?
Okay.
I want to know more about, you mentioned something like that you want to give, or something that you have for our friends here in the community.
Sure. Yes. Yes. You can find me at theboldabode.com. That's the bold abode, ABODE. People get that confused because it is kind of a mouthful. And you can find the podcast there. The podcast is Redefining Bold, and you can find that on Apple, Google, Spotify. I'm struggling with Stitcher right now, but if that's your platform, it's coming. That's coming. And they are very short episodes. And I'll let you in on a little secret. I write these episodes for myself. So, just to encourage me. And I'm hoping that by doing that, what Tom LaHoo, I cannot get his name right, by putting that out into the world, that, that is helping other people like me too, particularly Enneagram 9s. So that is the podcast, but that's also on the website. And then I have a couple of free ebooks that if you want to be notified about the podcast, just the podcast, you can go to my homepage and there will be an opt-in. Just kind of scroll down to about the middle and you can opt in there.
Okay.
But if you go to theboldabode.com/subscribe, you can opt in I have 2 ebooks that you can grab. One is the affirmations, the 10 affirmations for an effortlessly clean home. If you're going to work on your mindset around cleaning your home. And then there is 10 habits for a miraculously clean home.
Yes.
That's going to change a little
and
bit.
I got that.
Yes. And so you can download that. It's got a couple of printables, checklists. There are 10 things that I do every week. And I really don't do a whole, when you get energy, you do other things too. But these 10 things, if I do these 10 things every week, everything stays pretty presentable. So for me as a 9, that's doable.
Just do the minimum.
Just do the minimum.
Keep the train going.
Right. It's great to have things in your life that spark joy, but for a 9, you might just want to get these things done, Yeah. But so theboldabode.com/subscribe.
Great. I love it. Okay.
And you can find, I'm sorry, here we go again, because I don't like to do this, but here, the Bold Abode, at the Bold Abode on Instagram. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's enough. That's
so
enough
funny.
Promotion.
That's how I am. Speaking about being in meetings, like whenever I worked in a school back in the day, like I would be in a meeting and I would be like, here's a suggestion, like if you want it, like here's something, if you would like to take it. It's ridiculous. But anyway, I just appreciate you. I'm so glad that you're my friend. Everyone needs a Gwen in their life. So I hope that those of you watching and listening will check out Gwen, check out the podcast. As you're on your drive today, just listen to a 10-minute episode. It's like so fast, and it'll be like a little Gwen in your life. So
you are so sweet. I love you so much.
Oh, me. Okay. Well, thanks guys for watching. We're going to be putting all this in the comments on the pod. I am going to put this on the Peacemakers podcast. So I'll also do this in the show notes and everything, but
okay. Great.
All right. Thanks, Gwen.
Thank you for having me.